I've been helping some friends organize their computers, and well, immodestly speaking, I've always been pretty good at it. They saw that they liked the organization of my computer. They asked me to help. I've got about 2.5 terabytes of data, and if you don't keep that organized, it becomes a mess pretty quickly. So I've been doing this for about 20, almost 30 years. I hate to say that, but yeah, so I found a system that works pretty well across the board, and I thought I'd put that in a presentation and share that with you. So, starting out, computer file naming. This is part one of two parts. We'll talk about photos, correspondence, work, personal information, and so on. The benefits of good file naming. Well, with good naming, you find files easier and faster. You do not lose files, which is very frustrating. We've all done it. We've all saved a file somewhere. We can't remember what we called it. It's very hard. And when you do that, you oftentimes end up making multiple copies of a file everywhere across the system. Also, it makes backing up your system easier, and I'm going to talk about backing up, but if you can order things like A, B, C, and you back them up A, B, C, you have an organized way of making backups to ensure that you got every file. While we're talking, I should mention, do not change the file extensions like the JPEG and .text typically. Those are things you want to leave alone. So when I'm talking about changing the file name, we'll leave everything to the right of the dot alone. Okay, first on the list, date important files. Things that need to be in time order are typically things like photos and videos, news articles, correspondence, emails, letters, all that type of stuff. Now, yes, there's some personal preference here, and you may have some different ideas. We'll talk a little bit about different ways to do this. This is how I organize mine. I use date time order. With photo, video of family and so on, usually you want to sort by date and then some type of sequence that's taken. So let's just take a look at these quickly. I've got a bigger version of this where we can look just at this, but generally speaking, what I will do is something like the year, month, date, and this is obviously Christmas of 2018. And so I have something like that. Then I will have a sequence number. And what this does is this ensures it stays in the order the picture was taken. And then I'll have something like mom, new sweater, Christmas, and then JPEG. And of course, anybody looking at this can easily see that this was taken on December of 2018, Christmas Day. This is the first picture in a sequence, and the subject, and what I usually do is start left to right or include the main subject at the beginning. So mom, new sweater, Christmas. This is very obviously the first picture taken on Christmas of mom with her new sweater. Okay, anybody can see that and understand it. So the next one is the second picture, mom, sis, new sweater, Christmas. So that's mom, sister with a new sweater. This is a video because of the MP4. And the last one is mom, dad, Christmas tree. Okay, so that's the system is year, month, day, sequence number, mom, dad, so subject left to right, Christmas tree, and that's it. Pretty simple. This thing right here, let me explain, take a second to explain this. This A01, this is a holdover from the old days of roll film. And you'd have rolls of film that were like 20 or 36 exposures. So when you shot up one roll, if you wanted to maintain the sequence of the rolls, roll 1, 2, 3, 4, this is what you did. You would mark it like A01 because you may have, many rolls. So this is what you would do. And what this will do is this will ensure that regardless of what this says over here, they will stay in the time sequence. So this is the first picture taken, second picture, third picture taken. If you don't use this, what happens is mom, new, mom, sis, and mom, dad will not be in the correct order. The D will come first. Mom, dad will become the first picture. So that's what this does. This forces the sequence to stay date and then time, if you will, and then subject. Okay. So the next set down here in detail is the 2019-0101. And this, of course, is January 1st of 2019. This is Jim, Mary, and Snowman at home. Again, very obvious what this is. Here's the second picture on that sequence. Jim and Fido, snow, park. So you can quickly see this and know what's happening with it. Okay, this is just a big version of what we just talked about. So what will happen is this is going to keep this sequence in order. We will definitely have the first picture first, the second picture second, the third picture third, and so on and so on. Now, to make this one step more complex, what I typically do is I have a main family album, and then underneath that I have years, 2016, 17, 18, 19, like this. Under each year, I will have any special event like a wedding, Trisha's wedding, or a Colorado holiday. And then under each of those subfolders, I will have the pictures of that event. So here are the Colorado holidays. I will have the first picture, second picture, third picture. And then down here, I'll just have the 2019 pictures, not in these subfolders, just under the main folder of 2019. So this keeps everything nice and organized. Because you don't really want your family pictures and then like Trisha's wedding and then more family pictures. Typically you want your family pictures to go all the way through, and then you have this nice little folder that has the special events that you can go to as you desire. Let's move on to correspondence, which is the next topic. Typically you want to keep correspondence by date, recipient, subject. This one, in this case, 2019-12-25, this is TSB family, and it's the Christmas letter. So this is the date the correspondence was written. This is who it was written to, and it's the Christmas letter. So I know the date, the recipient, and what it is. The next one, again, is a letter to Aunt Mary with a wedding checklist in it. The next one is the garage sale. It's some ad flyers on this date. It's obviously upcoming. Here is an application and resume that perhaps was sent to a company looking for a job. And here's the last one, Jerry R. Q4 sales review. Again, all very obvious what's in these files. Next are things like news articles. So if for fun or work you need to keep news articles or things that are by date, these can be by date or subject or both, again by using the folders like we did with the family pictures. So in this case, here we have 1914, 1111, AO1. This is an article about World War I beginning. And again, the A01 will keep it in order. Yes, I know these aren't pictures, but this helps because this will force the order that you want regardless of what it says out here. This one is 1918, 1111, World War I Armistice Day. Down here we have 1921, 1029. So this is Wall Street's Black Friday, and this is a New York Times article. 1928, in this case I don't know what the date is, but this is the Mickey Mouse introduced, so we can obviously see what that is and what year it happened. 1969, 07, 20, 01, Neil Armstrong, first person on the moon, ... So these are all things kept in historical order, and that helps, at least that's the way I prefer to do it. Again, you could sort these by subject by making a folder, for example, about Neil Armstrong, and you could put all the Neil Armstrong stuff in there. Okay. Subject important file names. So this is things that you want to keep in subject order. For example, your softball team. Every year you have your roster. It's 2019, the players, and then 2020 players. Now you may be wondering what this is out here. This is my order. So what I can do is I start out with 01A, and then as I make radical changes to the folder, I do an upgrade revision. So A, B, C, D, so on. And if I make a huge revision, I will go back and make this O2A, and I will keep doing that. So that way I keep a history of the file. So that way if I really flub it up good or I want to go back and see what was happening, I can do that. So I can keep track of the roster for the softball team, and I can see who was on it for every game because I can just create a new one of these for every game. And that's true with the rest of these. So baseball team, basketball team, football team, and they sort very nicely, as you can see. You can tell immediately what's inside there, and you can tell what revision it is. Music file naming. If you download music from different services, you can store these, you can set them up however you want. So for example, by group title writer. I prefer group and then title, and you can include other things like genre, album, and so on. So what I typically do is I will say something like Boston Pops, Beethoven's Fifth, MP3. So this is group, comma, title. Or down here we have John Lennon, comma, Imagine. So artist, comma, title. ABBA, comma, Dancing Queen, comma, pop. So group, title, genre. Beatles, comma, help, comma, Ticket to Ride. So group, album, title. Now what I've done here is in one of these segments, like this is the group if you will, I've used this camel lettering where you have the capital, and I don't use a space or anything in here, so it's Boston Pops, and then comma. Comma tells me the next thing is the title. John Lennon, comma, the next thing is title. ABBA, comma, that's the group. Dancing Queen, so using the camel lettering, comma, pop, the genre. Beatles, comma, help, comma, Ticket to Ride. So these are all similar things. Now, when you come up with a strategy, stick to it, because if you change constantly, you will defeat the purpose of organizing. You'll not be able to remember how you did Boston Pops versus John Lennon versus ABBA versus the Beatles. So pick one format and stick to that. Okay, key points. As I just said, be consistent. Do not vary the format. Whether it's photographs, albums, music, what have you, always use the same format for the same type of file. Put the key things up front, whether that's date, name, subject, and a little bit of planning, a little bit of thinking before you decide will save a lot of time and frustration later. Also, word to the wise, back up your important data. If you only have one copy, it's as good as gone. That's the saying when people in the computer business. They will tell you if you have only one copy, you've probably already lost it. Print important pictures. Put them in an album for the future. Do not hope that they're going to be on your hard disk, because sure as anything, you'll lose the pictures you want. I have seen people lose their entire life's history of digital pictures when their computer crashed. Don't do that. I know it's old-fashioned, but print them out. It's a lot of work. Label them and put them in an album. Okay? So that's it for part one. Part two, I've got some examples and more details. I need to go make that video. I hope you found this useful and interesting in your home DIY computer projects.